Rogu love Daddy.
And Rogu loved Charity. Hey guys, remember, our charity for knitted knockers is still going strong. We need to get to at least $500 by the end of the month, and I know we can reach that with your support. Give people what they've lost and flex your crafting skills. Donate today. Get checked, and remember, you are loved, you are wanted, and you got this. Now on with the video.
I'm sorry, what in the living is that?
My tumor came to life, and now I've got a little homunculus. His name's Rogu.
Rogu.
Rogu, stop doing that. Please, I am not turning this into another Craig video, okay? I have too much controversy and time on my hands. Hi, I'm Kitty Monk, and I'm here to talk to you about American Dad. Or more specifically, Rogu, Roger's technically not son, also son. His tumor turned homunculus, who is basically his son. Now, with many people, one of the worst things a cartoon or a show can do is add new main characters because it dramatically changes things. I mean, look at Randy from That 70s Show. And in cartoon versions, adding new characters spelled the death of Fairly Odd Parents, since they focused on these boring additions over their plethora of side characters, even if Poof/Perry was great and I love his new voice, but Sparky and Chloe both suck, which sucks because I do like Carrie Walgreen. I mean, come on, in simple rules, like why wouldn't they focus on the immediate family going through the death of John Ritter? Why focus on these random people? But anyway, if a show runs long enough, typically this does happen, and sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. With Family Guy, for instance, many people, including myself, found Vinny to be a welcome addition to the show, even if it came at the cost of Brian. Whereas a good deal of people hated Doug and his stupid Cyril, I haven't watched Archer in forever, Jerry voice, and cheered when he finally got killed off. But go watch Lydia's video because I still need to catch up on the later seasons. With Rogu, while he hasn't been as divisive as, say, Chloe, well, that does still exist. But what do I think personally of Rogu? Well, I kind of like him. Come on, I have my reasons, so let's discuss. But first, a little background. Now, I'm somebody where unless a show is serialized or I watch it in real time, I tend to watch each episode out of order. And even then, I do enjoy most spoilers, because I'll have no clue what's going on otherwise, and if I'm still shocked, then it's proof you're good at your job. But this does lead to me forming weird theories about a show before I get proper context. Like, for Hell of a Boss, my first exposure was the clip of RoboFizz singing, since I'm a huge Beetlejuice fan, and he's one of my special interests. And I thought Stolas was a woman who was in a circus that split up, and that included RoboFizz and Blitz, and she left and had a family, but then Blitz came along and they had an affair. Guess that wasn't too far off from the mark. But with Rogu, I thought he was Roger's son via Betsy White. Okay, let me explain that episode because it does relate to here. Deacon Stan Jesus Man has Roger go through his species version of ovulation, which includes mood swings and strange slimes. His cravings cause him to eat all of the potato salad that Francine made for the Deacon's wake, which Stan is trying to use to rally against Chuck White for Deacon, and he replaces it with his delicious alien boob slime.
You set me up, Klaus! Why would you do something so awful?
I'm German. It's what we do.
While this is going on, Steve befriends Betsy, Chuck's daughter, and a qualifying Olympic gymnast. And while their parents fight, Steve learns that Betsy is actually quite miserable. She hates gymnastics and only does it because her parents force her, while her coach is so strict when it comes to dieting that she can't even eat a lemon or drink lemonade.
I can only eat what Coach Bella Caroli approves.
Lemon wedge! Lemon wedge! Fatty wants a lemon wedge! Here's your precious lemon wedge! Boy!
Eventually, Stan learns about the breast milk. The potato salad was a big drop, BTW.
Potato salad? Oh, that is just adorable.
And to secure his chances, he turns Roger into cattle, feeding him more and more to produce more milk until he looks like ugh. But Roger falls off the device that Stan had made and chokes. Steve uses CPR training, aka the training he took with Betsy, to save Roger.
Hey, you didn't have to spit in my mouth.
Ew. Shortly after, Roger is done riding the cotton pony.
Nice try, you little sadist, but my reproductive cycle's over. Guess I got it out of my system.
Oh, he did all right. Now, Steve is pregnant with Roger's baby, and all of the crazy implications this implies. To be fair, at the time, nobody knew it could happen, but nobody really knew what to do. I mean, come on, Steve's 14. Heck, Stan actually entertains the notion of betraying his Republican ideals and letting Steve abort the baby.
But I thought we were conservatives.
We are, in America. Down here, we're just Juan and Pedro Gomez, orange farmers from Oaxaca who've come in for a delicate procedure.
Which I know the show portrays as bad, but I feel like in this instance, most people would be in favor of such. Steve's barely a teenager, he didn't mean to get pregnant, and he didn't know the consequences of just giving Roger mouth to mouth, so you can't argue like, oh, he deserved it because he knew it was gonna happen. He was just helping his friend, and to be fair, said friend doesn't want to be a parent either at that point.
Oh yeah, fatherhood. Jazz. It's not like I wanted to do anything with my life, like learn to surf or go to Jerusalem.
Are you drunk?
Get used to it!
And honestly, could Steve's body even support such a pregnancy? I mean, he is giving birth to it. I mean, he is, like, pregnant, but maybe you could, like, suck all the life out of him or something, like in Breaking Dawn. At least with Roger, he's biologically wired to be able to support such a baby.
So Steve is carrying an alien baby in some sort of faux uterus. How great is it that I started Xanax yesterday?
But Steve doesn't have to choose. Betsy White sneaks over to his house, and they make out, since he probably assumes that he can't transfer the fetus because he now looks like that. But Betsy is a girl, and therefore she must go see her cousins at a farm in Iowa for 9 months, if not longer.
Steve!
Betsy! Oh, this is all my fault.
No, it's not. I knew kissing got you pregnant and I did it anyway.
Also, fun fact, I forgot to mention it in the script, but earlier in the episode, her mom sees her holding hands with Steve, and she's like, it leads to kissing what gets you pregnant, so that's a cool callback.
Betsy White, what did I tell you about hand-holding? It leads to kissing, which can get you pregnant.
Anyway, Betsy is totally fine with this because she can't do gymnastics anymore.
Now that I'm an unwed teenage mother, the world is my oyster.
Honestly, you could if you were in nowhere, Iowa. No offense. The thing is, Betsy still hasn't returned or gotten another sequel episode, and many fans, including myself, were confused. Like, what does the baby look like? Is it a mini Roger? Does the family care she's raising an alien? Are they cool with it? Do they get captured by the CIA? From what I hear, the idea of Betsy returning with her baby gets thrown around a lot in the writer's room, so that's part of why I thought Rogu was Betsy's child. Like, maybe Betsy returned in some episode I didn't see and dropped Rogu off with the Smiths, or Rogu decided to sneak out the Smiths. But no, and Rogu first appeared in the episode Persona Assistant, in a totally different way. We all know that Roger's personas are important. I mean, I've made countless lists on them. But what if Roger couldn't do them for a couple of days? One day, Roger shows up late to the opening theme song with Stan. At least he doesn't have to go pay to get the flagpole fixed this time. And he claims to Stan it's because he lost track of his many personas.
I had to pay $2 extra for the jalapeno poppers, like I'm George friggin' Soros over here. What's that bump on your forehead?
This? Oh, it's nothing, just an ingrown eyebrow hair.
But all the while, he seems to have a cosmetic problem. Ooh, those are so much fun to pick out and then place on your mantle like a trophy. It's fun to look at them and how they bend and be like, ooh, I wonder which way it went in. But eventually, it turns out that Roger doesn't have an ingrown eyebrow hair.
Jeez, Roger, you sure you don't want to get that thing on your head checked out?
What, this? I told you, it's nothing. Look, I'm sorry I flaked on your little song, but I've been feeling a little sluggish lately.
Wait, he has hair? He has a tumor, and it's the size of a watermelon. Oh, and he sees everything like this.
Roger, listen to me.
You need to go to a doctor right now. You could be dying.
Buzz, 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 buzz. That's you.
Oh. But he passes out and ends up at Dr. Calgary's, who has put the tumor into a jar. He's told that he has to take it easy for a couple of days, which is bad news for him because of his, personas. They're like his own career. Therefore, he gets Stan to cover for him while he goes to the Chimdale Spa. Wait, but with the tumor?
Be a doll and hand me my tumor. I've gotten kind of attached to it. I even gave it a name. Rogu. Isn't he cute? Kiss him. Come on, kiss him. I'm not leaving till you give him a little kiss.
I have comfort objects too. You're fine. Before he leaves, Roger makes it clear to Stan that he can't deviate at all and to be careful.
But I'm not liking your attitude. You're not taking this seriously. I guess I'll just have to stay and do it myself.
Careful, Roger.
Oh, and he has to wear a suit of Roger skin, which I want to know what it feels like. Part of me thinks it feels like an elephant. That way, it'll be easier for him to blend in with the personas. Stan does the personas, but he doesn't finish the list and discovers, wow, Roger really has a lot to do. Also, he half-asses it, like when he's Camellia Buttersworth, I think. Right, isn't that her name? And he just fist bumps her husband, whereas earlier in the episode, we see that Roger's like using tongue, like damn. But Stan neglects being Johnny Lasagna, Roger's mob boss persona, and Langley Falls is now in shambles. Klaus tells him there is one way to make things better. He just has to put on a very special outfit and become
Ricky Spanish. Ricky Spanish is back! It's all thanks to Klaus. Who's your least favorite character now, Reddit?
Something tells me they read the subreddit. Do they watch my videos? Busy Pop does, and Georgie Lehigh. While Stan is out rampaging, Roger returns fully better and accompanied with somebody new.
Roger, thank God! Listen, Stan fell behind doing all your personas, and then—
Oh, you're cute. Roger explains that the little guy is Rogu. Rogu is Roger's tumor, which sprouted limbs and became a homunculus, which gives me questions about if Roger's people can reproduce in different ways, but Roger explains that there is a very special reason Rogu is around.
My body gave me a solution. It sensed I had too much to do, so that's why it gave me Rogu, to help take over some of my workload.
That's something your race does?
Apparently.
Oh, you're so sweet. He's gonna be a slave. Come on, we know he's not getting paid for it. Still, Roger having a kid is really a cute idea, like when he feeds him.
Right. And I only have one persona as powerful, as dangerous. Oh, cute!
Aww. My favorite part of feeding babies is how, when I feed them, they always pull on my dress. It's so cute. Like, I know Roger didn't want to be a parent and Deacon Stan Jesus Man, but it is possible to change your mind. Even though, like, if you do want to be child-free, that is fine, but hey, some people, like, you might want kids, but not right now. Plus, Roger was strangely attached to Rogu, so I guess it works.
Hey, buddy.
Roger!
My mouth is super juicy for this very purpose.
Roger hears about Stan as Ricky Spanish, so he shows up to stop him dressed as the anti-Ricky Spanish Jeannie Gold, wedding planner.
It is I, incontinent wedding planner Jeannie Gold, who is, of course, also your sister.
So many things make sense now.
Wait, so that means that Jeannie's maiden name is Jeannie Spanish? Is that why she's based in Latin America? I have questions. Stan and Roger fight, but he forgets that Stan is a CIA operative who has canonically killed him before. Stan is about to finish the job when suddenly he's stopped by
Rogu Spanish.
Rogu, did you make that little Ricky Spanish outfit all by yourself? That is so clever!
Oh, Rogu is such a cosplayer in the making. He's so cute. But yes, Rogu does take over some of the personas for Roger, and they do work out. And I think that's the excuse for why he's not in every episode. He's probably off, like, pretending to be Jeannie Gold or something.
Rogu do bootleg.
There's the old gunslinger!
Okay, so if I had to guess, Rogu is a play on the cliché called Cousin Oliver, where a show adds a new character whose entire purpose is to be cute and nothing more. Think about it like when Full House realized that Michelle was an audience pleaser, so by the later seasons of the show, it basically became the Michelle Show, to the detriment of a lot of other, like, shows. Obviously, many people dislike it when it happens, because we've gotten used to something already. Why add something new? Something that adds nothing. I mean, look at Randy. But with Rogu, I think they found a good compromise. He doesn't appear in every single episode, and when he does, it isn't always about him. Sometimes he'll just make a short cameo to remind the audience he exists, and sometimes Roger does have a heart.
Oh! Ah! Rogu, I'm the only thing not burning.
In some ways, he kind of reminds me of Space Beth in the later seasons, where, yeah, she does get 1 or 2 episodes, and she does kind of annoy me at times, but yeah, it is nice, and it is a sign of the Smiths' character development that they know they can just leave a placemat for her and she'll show up if she wants, and if not, they don't take it personally. And I just now realized that Rick and Morty and American Dad both use the last name Smith for the families. That is so weird. But you might be wondering, why does Roger have a kid? Well, it's not that far-fetched of an idea outside of Deacon Stan Jesus Man. Roger's baby was all about Roger getting pregnant, albeit as a surrogate for Jeff and Haley, so Jeff could be reborn as a human and be able to father children. But Roger being pregnant is worse than normal Roger, and he's so demanding and childish.
You did this to me! I think if I had just a tiny bit of meth, it'd settle my stomach.
No, Roger.
Just a little quisto.
Even if he's only pregnant for like 2 weeks max. Therefore, Haley realizes that babies are just like Roger, and maybe she'll hold off.
There's so much more to having kids than I ever thought, and I don't know if we're ready for that.
Well, having just been born, I feel I'm a little young to have a baby.
Yeah, I understand. I'm not having kids till I'm at least 30. And there was a quote-unquote flashback in Naked to the Limit one more time where he gave birth to a mini him, which made me super upset when I first watched that episode. Like, I thought I missed something. Still, there is some benefit to having Rogu around outside of showing that Roger can be a good person at times. In the episode 300, aka the conclusion of the Golden Turd arc, Roger is torn into pieces, which enables world peace, even if it turns Rogu into an orphan. And it's fun at first, but the Smiths quickly tire of it.
Hey, I miss my old song.
Daddy.
Well, that is the silver lining, Rogu. At least Roger's been gone since Utopia started.
Daddy.
And while I'll eventually get to it when I get to the Golden Turd arc, I think this could have been better, but I have a video coming soon. Thankfully, Roger is able to mail himself to the Smiths and tell them about how to undo world peace. Fix him. He is scattered into pieces all across the world, but Rogu is able to locate him.
Rogu can help you find the rest of me. Probably. I just said a name. Does he look confident?
Daddy, here at mall.
I guess because he was Roger's tumor, so you can argue he technically was part of Roger, so I'm fine with that. My favorite episode involving Rogu is Klaus and Rogu in Thank God for Loose Rocks, an American Dad adventure. I mean, it involves him and Klaus, so it's basically D. Bradley Baker talking to himself the whole time. You know, I really should see him at a con, but his line is always like, ugh. Every year, the Smiths take a trip to the Dude Ranch, whatever that is, guys. I live in New Jersey. I only go to farms for food festivals or when I get lost on the back roads to Atlantic City. Klaus loves it because it's when the Smiths treat him as the cool dude all of his boys do. I mean, look at his fashion sense. Look at it. Look how awesome sauce. Lookies.
When Klaus joined Village People.
My precious Rogu's first sick burn. Strong disagree. Klaus is working that outfit.
Unfortunately, it seems like Klaus is slowly but surely getting replaced by Rogu, who sits in his spot and wears his clothes.
Oh, my hat! My spot! He's taking all my things!
Relax, Klaus. That outfit looks way better on him.
Well, I mean, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, but at the same time, I feel like the Smiths are just trying to be nice to Rogu because they haven't really involved him in any big events until now. After all, from their perspective, he's the newest Smith, he's the youngest Smith, he's basically a child, and you would want to be welcoming to a new guest. Plus, it's in character. Remember, Rogu made a Ricky Spanish costume to honor his father. I could see them being like, oh, he's so cute, he thinks he's Klaus. Even Billy likes him.
Everyone obsessed with Rogu!
Rogu, I almost didn't get to say goodbye.
A2, Billy?
Okay, unpopular opinion, but if there's one person who doesn't like Billy, it's me. I mean, don't get me wrong, I like the idea of Billy, he fits into this world pretty well, and he's good in small doses, but he really embodies the drag on pause I'm not too keen on, where he'll just talk and not shut up, with like this annoying voice.
There's no cold one. You left an empty case in here. I don't have X-ray vision.
Like, again, it's fine in like a small dose, but it goes on way too long at times. Like, I don't hate Rogu, but yeah, I do hate Billy. Things get worse at the Dude Ranch, where Rogu's natural charisma gets him in good with everybody, and even gets him a nickname better than Klaus's.
He's adorable. I'm gonna give him a nickname. Not Buckaroo, that's what I call everybody. I know, Buckarito.
Buckarogu.
That's great!
Thankfully, there's a conflict that'll cause the pair to bond. Tequila Joe, a donkey who is famously unrideable, has gone missing because somebody cut his line. Klaus.
Property of Ragu.
Pretty sure it says property of Rogu.
Wait, Klaus? How do you think you spell Rogu?
R?
Since he did it to frame Rogu, the family decrees that Klaus and Rogu must go find him. In the forest, Klaus and Rogu still aren't getting along, but Klaus learns a lot about Rogu, like how his trademarked speech pattern is not his natural voice.
Why do you talk so freaking slow, bro?
Rogu talk faster.
What? You could do that this whole time?
Rogu learned English 1 year ago.
Rogu code switches too?
Rogu talks slow, charm pants off ladies.
Ugh, yeah, I don't know how to respond to that. You're basically a kid. They don't find Tequila Joe, but Rogu does unintentionally save Klaus's life.
Thanks, Rogu.
Klaus do same for Rogu.
Maybe.
Foreshadowing! Rogu reveals that he actually does like Klaus, which, yeah, like I said, it makes sense and it's in character. Plus, when you think about it, Klaus is a very insecure person who causes many of his own problems, albeit for the first thing, it's not without cause. So it makes sense for him to doubt Rogu and think it's just another game. I mean, Rogu does say he'll help Klaus when he gets home, but...
Rogu look up to Klaus. When Rogu get to Smith's, Rogu see Klaus have place. Bottom rung of ladder.
Which, yeah, it's a sweet gesture he's willing to do that, but you mean he's basically gonna be right where he was before? Obviously, Rogu isn't a Mary Sue, unlike Chloe Carmichael. So, yeah, it works and I'm fine with it, but hey. Like, even that comment, I don't think was spiteful.
But Rogu not know how Rogu fit in.
I'll just say that Rogu hasn't been without the Smiths long enough to know the hierarchy. He probably just assumes Klaus is the best because he likes him the best. I mean, he barely interacts with any of them. Like Stan, the first time he interacted with him, he stabbed him.
But truth? Rogu like duck. Calm on surface, but under, furiously paddling.
Aw, that's totally not me at all, totally. Well, unlike you, Kitty, I'll admit it's me. Aw, you f***ing would, Catherine. But the pair do bond, with nicknames, a stink bug that Klaus kills for Rogu, and oh, speaking of nicknames...
That would be like if I told you to call me K-Money. Oh my God, how good does that sound? Rogu, you gotta start calling me K-Money.
Okay, that settles it. We can no longer call Klaus Klaus for the rest of the video at least. He will be K-Money. I'm sorry, he said that's what he wanted to be called, and I like to call people by their preferred names. I am obliged. Unfortunately, Rogu trapped in a crevice, in a kind of 127-hour situation. But K-Money, well, remember how I said foreshadowing before? Well, he betrayers him.
You have depth and feelings, and you're useful. And I'm not. I'm not worried you're going to replace me. I know you will.
No, Rogu is dead, you bastard. I love him in a non-weird way because he's like a kid. I mean, clearly he can't just climb out or something. Oh, thank goodness. Well, thank God for loose rocks, am I right? Oh, that's why we got the title. I just thought they just picked something at random. K-Money goes back to the Dude Ranch and lies and says that Rogu died. And he also killed a mountain lion and a stink bug. Liar.
I can't believe Rogu's gone. Ow, we'll have a bar crawl in his honor.
They decide to have a bar crawl for Rogu, either Mardi Gras themed or Great Gatsby themed. Even though I feel like most Great Gatsby themed stuff kinda misses the point of the book, but he gets overwhelmed by the guilt. So he tells Roger, aka Rogu's father, that he killed him. Wow. Okay. But there's a chance he might be alive. But Roger tells him he royally messed up because he let him live.
Look, I'm happy my son's alive. Although I'm more than a little embarrassed to cancel his Mardi Gras-themed memorial bar crawl, but no one betrays Rogu and lives to tell the tale.
Wow, he really is Roger's son. Like, K-Money has witnessed Roger kill a group of people over $20. And also, like, a bunch of people as collateral, like part of a funeral, an airplane, a flight attendant. Not to mention, he's an alien who comes up with new powers depending on what's needed for the episode. What the hell was he thinking?
His arm is pinned under a rock.
So? He could chew through that thing in 2 seconds, and our kind can regenerate limbs practically at will.
See, K-Money is so insecure that insecurity blinds him to logic. Wow, maybe I really am him. Rogu comes to the Dude Ranch to wreak his revenge on K-Money, and to show how badass he is, he's shooting people in the Bobby Hills, and he's riding Tequila Joe, aka the donkey they were looking for, and who famously is unrideable.
Ow! Yep, Klaus left Rogu to die in a pit, and now Rogu cut his arm off and is gonna kill Klaus.
You know, I had a feeling that's what happened.
He says he'll stop his rampage if he gets K-Money, implicitly to kill or to harm. K-Money is going to comply, but the Smiths defend him.
You can't have him, Rogu.
Klaus, did you really think we hate you so much we'd let you die? You need to work on your self-esteem, man.
Ooh, see what I mean? Insecurity sucks. I mean, the actual emotion, not the South Park episode. But Rogu says that K-Money has until nightfall.
See you then, Rogu. Look, Klaus, it grew back.
He goes to meet with him privately, where he apologizes and decides the world was wide enough for both Rogu and me.
Mean a lot to Rogu that you learn lesson before you die.
Seriously? But I apologized, like super sincerely!
Tough toots. You know, I think Rogu has that level of petty I want to obtain. Thankfully, a Deus Ex Machina shows up, which I don't think I could totally use that term because they did foreshadow it throughout the episode.
Except, of course, for that pair of mountain lions. Klaus, Rogu, and Tequila Joe make a hell of a snack for those two lovebirds.
But yeah, in many ways, it's basically a Deus Ex Machina because it comes out of nowhere, in the form of a second mountain lion.
A second mountain lion? I wonder if they know each other.
Yeah, K-Money, they do know each other. They're like dating. K-Money saves Rogu, and we get a meaningful callback.
Klaus saved Rogu even though Rogu planned kill Klaus?
Your family too.
Klaus still die.
Are you kidding me?
Rogu knows how it is. But alas, it was a mere joke about how K-Money is now a fish and lacks the tools for love. Oh, that could explain why the only thing he did with those ladies was cry. Wait, but how is it for a fish? Is it like Stolas? I have questions I'm too lazy to Google. But yeah, finally, let's talk about the episode, The Hand That Rocks the Rogu. Steve learns that you can watch children when their parents aren't around for money. We call it babysitting, and it's how all of his friends make money and get responsibilities.
Whoa, curly fries again? Those are $1 more. How do you guys afford them every day?
Babysitting, dingus.
You're all babysitting now?
Yes, Steve, and you can even get a degree in it. We call it teaching. Oh, come on, I can say that. Steve tells Francine he's ready to babysit, but she decrees that Steve is not ready.
You panic easily? You're neurotic. You're afraid of your own shadow.
What? Me and my shadow are totally cool now.
Which, ignoring the fact Franny has a tendency to infantilize Steve herself, I think she has a point about this. Steve isn't exactly somebody I would trust around kids younger than him. Like, I wouldn't even trust him with a dog. I mean, remember kisses? Maybe I would trust him to sit at the kids' table to tell them, like, if they're wasting their Charizards, but nothing beyond that. Steve himself is pretty immature. Like, don't get me wrong, you can be a babysitter and still be immature, but Steve is immature in the sense of, like, he needs his mom to do everything for him. And when he was alone by himself one time, he and his friend stole a drone, aka $1 million piece of government equipment, and got it lost. And when Haley was going to babysit him, he and his friend snuck out and went to a party and got in trouble with a drug dealer. Or when her and Stan left Tim alone for a year while they tried to ruin George Clooney, all he and Roger did was adopt slave children, and kind of ignored the fact that his own sister had cancer so they could run their own slave operation. Or when Steve and Roger went to New York City, they were broke in a week and both were cold and hungry. Like, really? I think she has a point. Well, beyond a point, and the episode will eventually prove her so, but we'll get there when we get there. Steve decides to prove to Francine that he can indeed be a good babysitter. Yeah, and I'm a furry. And he decides to prove it to her by babysitting Rogu for Roger. After all, Roger has an important job this episode. He's a, what do I call it without getting, like, in trouble? Let's call it an escort.
Probably heard the rumor that he used to be my tumor. He's Rogu, my baby. He's here! Anyway, that little rhymes how I remember who he is.
Do you keep Rogu in the room while you...
Well, at least he's being considerate, Steven. God. However, before Roger leaves, he lets Steve know there's some ground rules. First off, there's 3 important rules, because it's always 3 for some reason.
Absolutely no candy, no screen time, and don't let him look at my ant farm. He didn't want to chip in for it, so he doesn't get to enjoy it.
It's okay, Roger. I hate ants, so I won't touch them. Also, that's like the one rule that does not come into play, which I'm very surprised about. But Roger also lets Steve know that if Rogu causes trouble, he should rock him to sleep.
If he gets cranky, just rock him to sleep. Sleep fixes everything.
Actually, that's kind of true regardless of age, at least for me. Like, I hate the saying, like, oh, don't go to sleep angry or anxious. Yeah, no. In my experience, if I go to sleep angry or I'm super emotional, it actually does help me, or at least me, because then I can sort of do a hard reset. And then I can wake up refreshed and maybe even forget why I was upset in the first place, and then work through my issues, especially since some time has gone by so I can better process it. Like, really guys, no offense, after a huge argument or if I'm that upset, like, I'll just take a quick nap, wake up, I'm fine. So yes, Roger is correct in a very roundabout way. Rogu is left with Steve, and it's time to pick dinner options.
Now it's just you and me. Should I order us some Domino's?
Rogu, no do chain restaurants.
Seriously?
Yes, Steve. Support your local businesses. Domino's will be fine on its own. And they also have like a $5.99 delivery fee near me. Like, who can afford that? It's like $40 for 2 pizzas. Steve watches Rogu and even teaches him some sign language. As somebody who does know a little bit and does instinctively like to say thank you or say my name, I highly appreciate it.
You want more, Rogu? This means more.
And he does try to enforce the rules Roger set. Of course, yeah, remember, Rogu was voiced by D. Bradley Baker. Time for him to do double duty and prove why he's one of the best voice actors of his generation. Here comes K Money to ruin it all like he ruined my childhood.
You're just writing Bitcoin over and over in a Word document.
One of us is drowning in cryptocurrency, and one of us is being paid $5 an hour to watch a farting tumor.
Somehow, I don't know, I just have this feeling deep inside my gut that I know what he did. He's probably my father. His German background is obviously a convenient cover story for the child he abandoned. Ugh. Unfortunately, Steve falls victim to the dreaded Rogu face.
Roger said no candy.
Steve, the trick is you gotta give him a substitute for candy. Something good. I mean, couldn't you give him like one of those lollipops that help stop cavities? Like, those actually exist. They're on Amazon. Look it up. So he does slip Rogu a piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy. Which of course causes him to...
What the... Oh no! That's why no candy?
Okay, pro-life tip for my viewers. Oh, life pro tip, whatever, that sounded weird. Know that when a parent sets a rule, it's likely for a good reason. And if you're curious, maybe ask why that rule is in effect. Like, I feel like communication goes a long way with these kind of situations. At least know everything. It shows you want to be a good babysitter. I mean, if Rogu was a normal kid, I would just assume Roger's afraid he'll be hyperactive. Even if sugar doesn't cause it to my knowledge, which is like total dog crap. But Rogu is an alien whose father can survive drowning. What did you think was gonna happen? K-Money suggests that Steve should admit to his mistake and call Franny. Where have you been, dude? K-Money makes it worse by continuously feeding Rogu candy, like he's trying to turn the kid diabetic, for God's sake. And then he gives him screen time with an iPad. Dude, that's one of the rules. And he's like, oh, well, I'll just put on a random video. Then why is a Nutri-Game bar and a Mountain Dew? I know it's catchy, but that's like saying, oh, I'm just gonna put on a random video. Oh, what do you know? It's me. Can't you just put on like Amazing Digital Circus or Baby Shark or something good? But regardless of the rules, it turns out that if Rogu has any screen time at all, he'll grow to gigantic size. Okay, we have to do something. Make him Amish. And also he'll wander around town, making cars go through tunnels. And that's not me being literal. It's a euphemism for something which I cannot show, but eh.
This is terrible! I just unleashed a monster on our town! Mom's never gonna let me babysit now!
Yes, those problems are of equal weight and importance.
Wow, that sounds like a you problem. All hope is lost. Thankfully, Steve remembers how Roger has ways around this, so he plays a rhyme that Roger made up to distract him, and then gets him smaller, and then rocks him on a ship and gets him smaller.
You did it! I've used lesser occasions than this as an excuse to break out the Cubans.
Aw, y'all cute and Rogu-sized, but we aren't done yet. See, Stan has spent the night at an exotic food club at the CIA, and Rogu has been kidnapped to be turned into Rogu chops, which means Steve now has to bite the bullet and ask his mother for help.
And now the CIA has him!
I knew your ass wasn't ready. The CIA, huh? Lucky for you, I slap uglies with a guy who works there.
At least she's fine with it. She helped Steve break into the CIA and get him back, but they're too late. Rogu is nothing but shake and bake. I helped. Catherine, I knew you'd do that. Your name does start with a K after all. You're like K-Money. So does yours. The point is, well, Rogu isn't really dead. Yay. I mean, sorry for you people who did dislike Rogu, but yes, he is alive. But he and Francine do make up.
I guess I meant I wasn't ready for you to babysit. Once you're old enough to take care of kids, it means you don't need me to take care of you.
I guess that makes sense, but yeah, like I said, I don't think Steve would be a capable babysitter. He isn't trustworthy, and he still disobeyed the rules that were set this time around. But yeah, considering the episode Iced Babies, it's sadly in character for Francine to think like, oh, it's because I don't want you to grow up. Wait, does this explain her actions in Morning Mimosa? They come to a deal that Steve can watch Francine when she retires.
When I'm old and my memory is shot and I'm losing control of my bowels, I'll move into your home. You can babysit me every day.
Yay.
Couldn't he just start off with something small like a gerbil? So yeah, this is why I like Rogu. He's funny, he's cute, and he's a good play on the Cousin Oliver stereotype. But I do think he could appear a bit more. I don't know. I personally like Rogu, okay? Is that so hard to believe? Anyhow, bye.